Hey everyone. So this week we're going to be talking a lot about anxiety and depression and surviving that, dealing with it in natural methods, dealing with it by talking to somebody, dealing with it through essential oils, through using supplements. There's so many different ways to help you feel better emotionally without feeling like you have to take Wellbutrin or other antidepressants. Excuse me. Now, not everybody is this way. Some people feel like they need the antidepressants, and maybe they do. I'm not trying to say that your way of doing things is wrong. Excuse me. I'm just saying that there are other ways, and I know because I have had a very hard life. I talk about all the time when I'm doing posts about how if you understood my story, if you knew my story, you would understand where I'm coming from. So I'm going to go ahead and do a very short version of my life story. Actually, some of you are probably going to be watching this and you may not believe me. That's okay. My life has been a roller coaster. It's been crazy and scary and eventful and lonely at times. It's really kind of gone everywhere. And I'm lucky that I decided that I needed tools for myself. I decided that I would seek out counseling for myself. And counseling has been the number one thing that has helped me get through my issues more than anything. So let me start with my childhood. I was born to two great parents, or at least they wanted to be great parents. They didn't really understand. They were really young. My mom was 14 when she got pregnant with me, 15 when she had me. My dad was just barely 18, so they basically had a shotgun wedding. You're going to marry my daughter or you're going to go to jail. So that's not really a good start for any family. Follow that up with my dad had an alcohol problem. My mom developed an alcohol problem. They both were drug addicts. My mom had been hit by a car when she was 2, and her parents were told that she would never be able to function above the age of a 14-year-old. So bear in mind when I'm talking about my parents, my mom did her best. She really, really did. That woman worked 2 jobs to try to support us forever. So I am not at all bad mouthing my mom. My dad, I loved my dad, but he wasn't a good dad. He didn't know how to be a good dad, and he would try, but the drugs usually came first. So I love my dad. It's just from a parental point of view, now that I'm a mom, I don't have a lot of respect for him. When I was 7, my parents got divorced, and my best friend's dad started molesting us. He was probably already molesting her, I just didn't know about it. He was a kind of sick freak who liked to get all the kiddies together, make us all play together, you know. I'm sorry. I don't understand how people can do that, how anyone could ever look at a child that way in the first place. But then, anyhow, that's still one that I'm not through. I was 25 years old before I even told anyone that I was molested as a child. It's something that I carried with me with a lot of shame. It wasn't until after I had been in an abusive relationship and been a victim of spousal rape that I realized that what happened to me as a child was not my fault. Fast forward to when I was 11. My mom was murdered in our house in the middle of the night. Um, it was over drugs. I had told my mom the night before that I hated her because she wouldn't let me call one of my best friends. Stupid reasons, but I mean, I was 11. I know my mom knows that I loved her. So my last memory of my mom is seeing her laying on the floor in the hallway as firemen carried us over her body. Sorry, this is where one of my anxieties and depression come from. So it's not something that's easy to talk about. So that's my last memory of my mom. For years after that, we spent that summer with family in Arizona. I lived with my great grandma primarily, and my siblings were living with my uncle. After that summer, my baby brother had to go live with his family because he had a different dad. We had to go live with our family in California, so we were immediately separated. At that time, my youngest brother was 4. I have 3 younger siblings. There's me, I was 11. My sister was 7. And then my younger brothers were 5 and 4. Okay. So the 3 older of us were sent to live with my dad, and my younger brother was sent to live with his dad. So we didn't really get to see each other much. In fact, I'm happy to say that I just got to see him after 13 years, 2 days ago. But it wasn't a good situation because he'd been hit by a car. It was a hit and run. So it sucked having to see him that way, but I'm so, so happy that we finally got to see each other again. Like, I don't even know how to explain how happy that made me. Fast forward to when I'm 11 and we're living with my dad. My dad was in a wheelchair. We were living with my grandparents for a little while because my dad had been hit by a car too. That's happened a lot in my family. Okay, but yeah, so we lived with my dad for a while. We hopped around from house to house. When we lived with my grandparents with my dad, we had our best care. They made sure our needs were always met. When we just lived with my dad, my grandparents still made sure our needs were met. My grandpa would come pick us up. He would pick me up and he would take me to the Grace Center or the Salvation Army or anywhere to get us food, because a lot of times my dad would spend welfare checks and disability checks on drugs. So it was my job as the oldest child to feed the children, make sure they got to school on time, make sure they were ready for school before I left for school, make sure their homework was done. So slowly but surely, I lost myself. I wasn't doing good in school because I couldn't concentrate. I wasn't sleeping. I got my first gray hair at 16. My dad moved his girlfriend and her 5 kids in with us when he couldn't even support us. So there was a lot of animosity there for a little while towards people who really, those kids are like family. I think of them now and I'm like, okay, I love them. We grew up together and we have similar backgrounds. So those people are still family to me. But at the time when my dad moved them all in, I was really upset. I could not believe that he would do that to us. He didn't even take care of us that well. So how was he expecting to take care of another family? It was out of his good heart. My dad had the best heart and the best intentions, but the drugs just really screwed with his thought patterns. Anyhow, my dad decided eventually that he was going to date a married woman, and they got engaged, and that woman and her then husband and my dad all used to do drugs together. And one Christmas Eve, my dad went to pick her up so that we could all go, she could meet my grandparents. And what happened was she was not there, and my dad kicked in a door. I don't know if the guy was egging him on the other side. I could see that happening. But the guy was on probation for beating a guy with a hammer. Hold on one second. My kids are coming in. Okay, sorry. My childhood isn't appropriate for children. So basically, this guy was on probation for beating a guy with a hammer almost to death. So he should not have even had a bullet on his possession, but he had gone the day before and borrowed a gun from the neighbor. So that's why I know this was premeditated, and I'm very, very upset that this guy ended up with 90 days worth of weekend jail. That's it. We woke up Christmas morning to find out that we were orphans. My dad was dead. He had been shot in the leg. It was the upper thigh. It hit an artery, and he bled to death. So I'm 17 at that point, and I'm like, you know what? F this. I'm not going to live with any more adults. I'm not going to have any more adults tell me how to behave. I'm already an adult. I've been an adult since I was 11 years old. I have not been a child since I was 7 years old. So I basically went on strike and I rebelled, and I started, I moved in with my boyfriend at the time and his family, and eventually we moved to Utah. And after I got pregnant with my first baby, he started getting noticeably abusive. And I say noticeably because I didn't notice it before. The little pinches, the little backhanded comments, just generally not respecting me. That's all abuse. So if you're being treated that way, don't accept it. I've gone through, when my dad died, I got put on Wellbutrin and I tried to kill myself. Because Wellbutrin is, first of all, it's not meant for you until you're between the ages of 21 and 25, I believe. And I was 17 when the doctor put me on it. And I tried to kill myself. I tried to take the whole bottle of pills. And my ex actually made me throw them up. He saved me from that. And I think that's why I clung to him the way that I did when he told me he loved me. But eventually, after our first baby, he got abusive to the point that when I was pregnant with our second child, he slapped me and he pushed me down on a coffee table. I broke the coffee table. He went to jail. I left him a couple times. It wasn't until I finally decided, you know what, I need to get out of Utah. I need to be near family, that I was finally able to leave him for good. So in 2012, my life started over. I got really sick from stress and candida yeast buildup. By 2013, I jumped into natural health care with essential oils. I started learning about them. I started learning about healthy eating. And from there on out, I just started taking care of my body and my family naturally. I had been through trying to kill myself with pills. I had been through just feeling like garbage and not getting anywhere because all I was doing was treating symptoms and not the root cause, which for me was candida. I'm sorry, there's like a little fly buzzing around in here. But anyhow, so that's my life story in the shortest version possible. There's a lot more that I've been through that I'll share later on, but for now, I just wanted you guys to get a small gist, a small idea of what I've been through in life and why I feel the way that I do about things, why I'm a child advocate, why I believe in parental rights, why I'm disgusted by deadbeat parents, why I don't do drugs and I've never done drugs, why I am who I am. So for all of you wondering, this is me. Bye.